Okay, we'll have roll call. Deb?
Yep.
Roger?
There.
That's not gonna work.
Roland?
Yep. Here.
And Stan? And myself? And Mike?
Thank you.
And then do we put you and Gary on the roll call?
Yep, on the roll call.
Lenny? And Gary? And how about, what was your first name again?
Paul.
Paul. How about Paul?
They're just guests attending.
Okay.
They're not in the official role.
So is the recorder taking the minutes then?
Recorder's taking the minutes to, I don't know where Pam is. I mean, she,
Pam, know that after 3 meetings that you're not on the board if you don't call in?
I don't know if she knows that, but here we will notify her.
Because she already missed more than 3. Rest of the board? None? How about approval or additions to the agenda?
Okay, we need break that out from May. It's now going to be from August. Strike projections for the next 3 fiscal. Under Food Bank of Lincoln, we'll just talk about the Census 2020 event that we just had. And everything else will be in each department's reports.
Does anyone else have any additions or changes to the agenda? Do we need a
motion?
motion to add this stuff to the agenda?
I don't think so.
Okay.
The other thing you might want to correct is the approval of the June 2020
That's right. Approval of it. It's
to August.
Oh,
August 2020 minute.
okay. August 20 minutes.
Yep. You can just say, just take a vote.
I didn't hear that.
I said you can just take a vote. I don't think there's any discussion. That is the discussion.
Yes, we'll take a vote on the changes to the agenda.
You'll need a motion to.
Make a motion, change.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, can we introduce Kathleen before we get into the reports? Most of you know Kathleen Bachunas. She was represented the commissioners, right, for us for several years. So we welcome you.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, reports, financial report.
Okay, so let's turn to the Edward Jones report here. So you have 2 Edward Jones portfolio reports. And basically, in that performance report,
You can look at these if you want.
you're gonna get, the first report is what we got in our first group. So this is taken from September 17th, 2020. This is our most recent portfolio. It's entitled Balance Towards Growth. On the back page is going to talk about the balance of $500,000. So that should be the smaller one of the two of the portfolio reports. So let's turn it all the way to the back of your page 4 portfolio. Yep. And you're there. If you don't have one, you have that. Yep. Okay. Yep. So we had a little bit of a hit in the stock market in the last month. We basically went down. I mean, we're still up 30,000, but we were up 46,000. I don't like losing 16 grand, but it is what it is. You know, the markets will correct itself. But considering that we've had almost 10 years, and we hadn't got that much in return. So that's the kind of an amazing thing that we're yielding that. This is more than 10 years worth of investments that we're making in a matter of a few months. So that's a good way to make sure that we are being good stewards of the county's money. Also, on your second Edward Jones report, this is the balance of, I'll have the same report, 300,000. So we have 2 investment accounts. We have one that's a little bit variable market return that gives us a higher yield. Here, you might have a copy of it. It should be it looks exactly like the other one. Yeah, it looks exactly like the other one. So we have 2 accounts. We have one that's a variable account that has a little bit higher yield, but a little bit moderate risk. So that's why we had that fluctuation of 16,000. And then we have one that's a tried and true old jalopy, you know, Volkswagen that's going to get us there. Slow growth account. And this slow growth account since May 21 of 2020, we've netted $2,933.15. Now, the reason why I chose the 2 opposing accounts is both of them will run opposite of each other. If the stock market is up, this account doesn't bring as much money. The stock market goes down, that account brings in more money. So we're always going to be making some type of profit in the market. Okay. Let me give you that copy. You look like you didn't have it. I don't know if you had it. It's a little bit different than another one. So
got it.
So that's our financial report from Edward Jones of our investment. Any questions or comments for that? It's pretty much self-explanatory. As the country does well, we'll do well. So, okay, next is we're going to talk about end of the year reporting. We just completed our fiscal audit. So we don't have a financial report because right now we're doing the end of the year reconciliation of all of our general ledger books and everything. So by next meeting, you'll have a detailed report of the entire year's accounting, because I didn't want to give you this report and it not be complete anyway. So I'm going to wait until next month and give you a more detailed financial review of the entire fiscal year. Okay, so that's going to be a little bit in depth. So we're going to probably get Stevenson's on the line, and they're going to also give you that reporting of our general ledger. Okay, but I did want to also include some of our requisitions and purchases. You should have that in your binder or in your packet. That should have copies of the checks and finances that we paid for this past month. There you go. Dolores has it. Should be at the top. Yep. Everyone should have a copy. Sure. So take a moment to kind of review that. This is pretty much standard operations, things that we normally do. Amazon seems to love us because we go through a lot of supplies. There is no staples. Walmart is not worth it to kind of going out and getting for the volume and the things that we're looking for. We've added 3 new vendors. I hinted at it last meeting that we're going to be opening up to a program called Generations, which is going to handle our internal workings of all of our client files so that we're more accountable and things are all digitized and at our fingers. So we're able to track those cases in real time. We can track our workers in real time. So when the worker goes and clocks into their house, they have a list of things that they need to say that they're completing. And as they're completing, it sends a GPS ping to us and is letting us know this is what's happening. Okay. And then it also has what's called an EVV, or electronic visit verification. That means if you say that you're at the house, that person needs to sign you in saying that you're at that house. And it's key to within 25 feet of that address. So you have to be on the property and signing in for each one of those things. We also did fleet management software through Verizon, which monitors our trucks. We monitor now hard braking. So I get a report every time one of our drivers throws on the brakes really hard or too fast. It kicks back to me and says, hey, this was an event. So, you know, we now have some standards of accountability with that. Also with our non-emergency medical transportation program, that also gives us some coverage with that. So that's also a new thing within there. We also joined the National Association for Day Centers. We are going to be opening it up as a day center. So there's some other vendor things that we're kind of looking at, trying to keep us and moving us to a more professional thing. Any questions on some of these? Like I said, you're going to get a detailed general ledger at the end of next meeting.
The day center, what encompasses that? Is that like for elderly people that need kind of monitoring, kind of like they're doing up at
Alpena, exactly like they're doing up at Alpena. We our new day center coordinator, Mr. Paul Altoff. I'll let Paul introduce himself. We were pleased as punch to have him join our team. Paul, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Originally from downstate, but spent the last, up until a year ago, 30 years in Maryland. In college, I was direct care staff for DD people. Program director for group home, also managed a 26-bed facility for DD people. And then the last few years, last couple of years, worked for the University of Maryland School of Pharmacy, working with grants and contracts for the facility. So looking forward to being able to get this day center running. Meg and I went to visit Roscommon to visit their director as well as their program coordinator, just to get ideas of what they're doing down there. As Meg had told me, they have a Cadillac of the day center, but it was a very good visit. Gave us a lot of ideas and some forms that they use to reach out to people. So when we're able to open back up, they're going to open back up on October 5th. So hopefully we will be able to in the near future as well.
And that's some of the things we're going to talk about. Thank you, Paul. In this meeting about reopening the center and how we're going to proceed with that. We have to just kind of make together a plan of action here for that. Let's see. So yeah, I hope that answered your questions, Gary. Basically, that is basically an expanded respite program
Not sure if you guys can hear me over there, but I have completely lost audio on your end.
Better. Is that good? Can you hear us
Yep,
now?
now I can hear you. Yeah.
So basically, what we want to kind of understand is that they are providing bookkeeping, records, and auditing until we're able to get ourselves off the ground. We have barely taken 2 steps. We are not ready to run. Before Stevenson took in, we were a hot mess. We're just now getting to the level of my minimum of accountability, okay? We are not ready to run with this. We have the infrastructure, like we have QuickBooks, but we're not doing the entering into that because we're still getting the records from last year reconciled. We are going to be looking to take back the NIMSCA reporting, moving back to that because they're charging us extra. But once they provide the standard accounting services, which is AP, which is payroll, which is taxes, that's very nominal fees. That's only like $600 a month. Okay. Now, in the grand scheme of things, when you look at our budget versus personal budget, don't look at your personal budget. And when you look at that number and you go, oh, I can't pay that. We're an agency, much bigger budget, and dollars to donuts, what their services they're providing is very critical and vital to all the programs. I do not want to have the headache that we had my first week here. Had 2 audits. It was, hi, welcome to ACCOA. Here's an audit from Stevenson. Here's an audit from NIMSCA. So I don't believe we're ready to walk away from Stevenson's completely. I do believe that at some point we are working with them, and we're going to be getting next month with NIMSCA to do the NIMSCA reporting. Okay. And we have now changed how we've done things. Before, the program had a bookkeeper, and they did all of the bookkeeping. Well, what happens when the bookkeeper leaves? You're in a hole because that one person knows everything. They know where the body's buried. Well, we're doing a team approach. Now we have an accounting team where everybody is working together. You leave, well, we lose you, but we bring somebody else in. Everybody knows everything, so we've had to make some changes. So I would strongly be hesitant, but I don't get a vote to walk away from Stevenson's at this point.
Well, it's just a question.
Oh, no.
I don't care.
I have no problem with questions. I'll just let you know. I feel, that's a strong thing because like I said, we just got our first attaboy, and it still was wrong. There still was stuff that was wrong, but they realized that we're light years ahead of where we were. In 2 years, if we're still struggling then we having a problem. Give us another fiscal year before we're able to do a lot of this stuff to where what I would like to see happen is Stevenson's does their report at the end of the year. We do our report and we're within 5%. If we can hit that benchmark, we'll be within 5% of a margin of error. Then I can say, do we really need a CPA at that point? But we're not there. We're definitely not there.
I see we pay Prairie Farms and we pay the home help people and whatever. But none of these is the credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see any credit card payments. Do we not have credit cards anymore?
We do have credit cards. We can get you, the credit card payments are done online because we were hitting so many different fees. We were literally 2 and 3 months behind on our credit card because the way it works is we submit a request is sent for payment from the credit card company. We send a check we send a check request to Stevenson's. Stevenson's kicks back an authorization request to the executive director. We say yes. 2 or 3 days later, a check comes into the mail, you or I or whoever's available from that time has to come in and sign both checks, review the checks, then that gets put in. It's already 2 weeks, something that has a debt. So what we can do now is I can give you a registry or a statement and we can go over financial for statements. So now we just basically pay it online and Tony or I have go through the statements and distribute it to the program. If you would like, we can add that.
Would everybody or anybody like to see that, or just, what is it used for mostly?
Big purchases like Amazon, you know, we have like payments to like Charter. If we order something like online through Walmart.com, like we bought a canopy, you know, that was like, you know, $7. Anything that we can't send a live check for that requires instantaneous payment, you know, so, and that's mainly, you know, vendor to vendor, you know, incidentals, those kind of things, but everything else we have paper check for.
I can think it was for maybe gas or something.
I got rid of all the gas carts. We now have Fick and Sons, so people have to gas up at Fick and Sons. So now the girls have to look at you and see you truck before they push the button.
Just quick question on that. I know my wife, we have a gas credit card, but we get money back. I mean, are you entered into some type of rewards program with this? Or
No, here's the thing.
I'm just,
In previous iterations of that program, I saw discrepancies of gas, bag of chips, a thing of water. And fuel should be just for fuel. And until we get to a point to where the accountability is where we get there, you know, right when I came in, I was like, nope. And slowly,
Sorry.
you know,
Good. Still on my conference call, unfortunately.
So I just want to make sure that we are kind of understanding that. Mike, I'm muting you because we can hear your feedback. But yeah, we just eventually, I would love to get a gas reward program because I think our non-emergency medical transportation is going to need that. But for right now, we just use Fick and Sons, and I can tell you, our gas bill has dropped. Our gas bill has dropped.
is that because of the price of gas or is?
Both of that too. We've saved about 35% in our gas.
That's pretty good.
Good.
Do you look at the, and Tony looks at the credit card statements, 3 pounds of hamburger and 7 onions or whatever, and can pop down here? Who looks at that?
Well, nobody has access to do that. Okay, so our policy, here's our policy. Before you whip out your credit card, you have to submit a prior authorization internal, okay? That basically says, I want to use my credit card to purchase this, okay? So then you take that, if you're a layperson, you take that to the supervisor. If you are the supervisor, you take it to Tony. Tony then looks at your budget and says, okay, you can pay that. She signs off on it. Then she sends it to me. And I go, why? And then after that, if we think that they can do it, we sign off on it. That's attached to the receipt because then you have to go click the inbox and say yes and pay for it. And then all of that gets stapled together in the file along with the receipt. And then when the product comes, we go and we inventory and we say, did all of this come in? And that's our policy. That was suggested by Stevenson and Company because basically we were just, you get a credit card, I get a credit card, and everybody just spent. Nope. Now it has to go through all of those internal steps.
Okay, but I'm sorry.
Mhm.
But I guess what Doris is getting at is somebody from this board have the ability to look at that stuff.
Right.
Because they
anytime.
still want the oversight. Is
And
that-
anytime you can come in, especially our board presidents and board officers, you guys come in and get that. If you want, you know, you may have 50 transactions within a month. So if you guys want to go line item by line item, I have no problem. If you want the credit card, we'll put the credit card in as part of the monthly financials.
I guess the only reason it's probably been off is just because of the last situation that
Right,
took place
right.
and they just, and it's nothing personal. It's just, getting back to that level of comfort again.
Right, and this is the form, my staff is probably listening to our meeting. That they provided you all, this is our purchase order request form. So this is something that you have to have. And it goes with the name of the vendor, so like, Prairie Farms. You put the address, the phone number, and your fax number, and then you put in the quantity, description, unit price, total price. And you fill all of that out, like you're making an internal invoice of what you're looking to purchase, okay? And then you put the name of the person who's requesting and the department. So if Julie's is seeking it from behalf of food services, she puts Julie in food services. And then she takes it to Tony, who says, or to me, who's approval. And then finally, at the bottom, it has Tony's approval, the administrative clerk. Okay, so it has to go through all of these channels before you're supposed to pull out that credit card. Because what happens is, if that credit card is pulled out and is used, then this doesn't follow, then disciplinary action is triggered. So.
Yes, I did ask the question because of what has taken place in the past. 20 pounds of hamburger and some hamburger buns, and down here, 2 cherry pops or 2 fudgesicles.
Nope. I would hope that fudgesicles is not where some of these jobs.
How many credit cards are
3.
out there? 3?
Yep, it used to be 7, now there's 3. And actually, now there's 2, because I took one back because we had a staff turnover. I'll talk about that a little bit later.
Okay, does anyone have any more questions on the bills? Who is Mark Chapman? Isn't he the guy that does our,
Transportation,
oh, that's him.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking he was the guy for
another
the,
new hire.
Yeah.
Another new hire. He's our transportation driver.
And I've heard nothing but great reports.
I hope so. It's one of those cringe things. Is like you start a new program, you don't know how people are going to receive it, but we've doubled in the number of transportation requests. I'll talk more about this later, but I'm super excited to announce some stuff about our transportation.
do you want to unmute?
Oh, Mike, is
Mike again.
Mike's trying to talk?
I don't know if he is or not.
He should be able to unmute himself if he wants.
Oh.
Of course, he's upside down.
Okay, is there any more questions on the financial report? Okay, we'll move on to the commissioner's report.
Not much really. I know we haven't changed our office hours. We're still open Monday through Thursday till 3 p.m. and 3:30 on Friday. We didn't want to go through changing any of that because in case something happens, we have to go back through the process of. So, they're still going to take phone calls up until 4:30. I guess if you have an absolute emergency, you may or may not be able to come in between that last hour, depending upon, what's going on. We would left that up to the discretion of the elected officials / department heads. As far as things go, that we have had a little excitement here as far as being recognized by the state of Michigan for the last resolution. I've been talking to Denise very closely. It seems the health department doesn't usually get a heads up on what's going to happen as far as the far as the governor goes, as far as imposing all these restrictions anymore. So she's pretty much listens to the report at 3 o'clock. And at 4 o'clock, she's handling the phone calls from the 3 o'clock report. This has just been a kind of an interesting mess. Yesterday, if you haven't been paying attention to the news, they're saying this thing isn't as aerosol as they claimed it was. I have a sister-in-law that, you know, works in a hospital elsewhere. They have a real infection control doctor that on staff that's been dealing, you know, with infection control, and so that the virus is low. So it's pretty much droplet questions and things you touch as far as this thing goes. But you know, I point back to, if you look at South Dakota, it seems South Dakota has been opening with very little issue. They're not wanting any federal money for reopening, and it seems their economy is running pretty decent. So, you know, I guess take a look at everything nationwide and then figure out what you're going to do. Other than that, nothing real big or earth-shattering happening. You know, I know mental health has been, everything has been running really well, because I sit on that board, and their budgets are running real well this year. As a matter of fact, they're ahead on a few things this year, and we're just waiting to see what happens next year. And other than that, I have nothing more I think I'm going to report at this time, other than we're having a special meeting on Thursday with the personnel issue that's come before the board on a special circumstance, where the whole board will be gathered at 11 o'clock Thursday morning. Does anybody else have any questions?
Any questions for Gary? Okay, the UNSCO report.
They're not on.
They're not here.
I think they assumed it was the last Tuesday of the month instead of the fourth. So when you have a month like September that has 5 Tuesdays in it, it's easy to kind of get discombobulated. So I sent them a link, but I will do an impromptu. We did have our NIMSCA audit last week with the NIMSCA team. We had a financial audit and we had a programmatic audit. The financial audit, I'm pleased to say we got an attaboy. They were able to verify 99% of the things that they pulled. We got our financials to them within a timely manner. Like, this is how I prepared the reports, okay? They gave me a questionnaire weeks in advance, which they do all the time. And all I did was go through 1 through 40 and answered every question and provided a document for each question. So then I put a nice little stack with a little card that said financials and all the data that they needed. So all that person had to do was just sit down and go 1, and we label it 1, 1, 2, 2, all the way through 40. Then we did that the same for each program that they did it. And they were able to go through all of our policies, see it, labeled it, and they were like, this is really easy. And we were able to kind of, and they had a few questions here and there. As far as our record keeping, it has gotten better. One of our internal audits last month, because we started this process because I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming in September. They gave me the exact date and time. I scheduled the exact date and time, so I knew it was coming. So that triggered a month-long internal audit. We found over 55 records that were incorrect, that were missing pages, misspelling of names, just not the right files that are in the records. Now, our staff will tell you it's beautiful. It's color-coded. We have those dots. Everybody has beautiful little folders. We know exactly what each color folder is done. And then we're like, why stop there? Let's do all the files in the building, universalized the exact same way. That way, if you're sick, I can still follow the legend that is now on the outside of the cabinet to find the records, not go, well, this person's not here. And that's universal for all programs now, you know, so we were able to do that. We also had a lot of problems with not getting recertifications in time. We had basically the system was you come in and you get a assessment from us, and we're supposed to kick back 6 months later to do a reassessment. Well, let's say you started January 1, and now I need to call you back in June. Well, I completed your file, I put it in the drawer. I'm not gonna remember to do that again. Well, we develop an internal system. Now you're gonna get a calendar notification that goes, hey, Bev needs a new evaluation 2 weeks before the end of that date. So then we can be like, hey, Miss Bev, your recertification needs to come up. Can I schedule a recertification with you? Just simple things that we can, do it. The old style would have been put it in a giant, calendar and then everybody check it. But now everyone has access to this. So now everybody shows up and it goes to, a Google Calendar that is just for reassessments or assessments, and these things get populated, So that's kind of how we started to kind of look at things in our NIMSCA report. As you can see back here on the board, that is all the things I wanted accountability. And we put up forms and I'm like, okay, this doesn't look right, fix this. So we kind of work from these bullet points. And then as things got clear, we erased it from the board. As things still needed to kind of work, we kind of put some other things up there. We got rid of the red. There was a lot of red on that board. Okay. But, as you can see, we got green, which means we need to start moving that forward in policy. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm sure NIMSCA will be able to give you a more detailed report, but I'll just, like I said, this is just what they were able to do, and we'll be able to kind of go through that with them.
Gary?
Just a quick question then. So are you saying our relationship between us and NIMSCA is improving because, previous directors, it's always been a
Kind of fight.
yeah, I'm trying to find a politically way to say.
I will say
It
this.
hasn't been very friendly. It's kind of been like the Hatfields and McCoys.
Exactly. And here's the thing. They can sometimes be difficult to work with, and they know that. I've expressed that, because sometimes they make it a little bit harder to get the money that the government has already put there. The government has these minimal standards that are like 5-10 pages. They give you 50 pages from them. That's a little bit difficult. But once you understand their system, and what they want is this accountability. And once you understand their system, it becomes a little less burdensome. It becomes a little less nagging, because if you already have the policies in place that they're already looking for, all you're doing is just, and they just don't want any hiccups. They don't want the audit to come back on them, that they're now has to come back on you, because they're giving an account too. So that's all it is. It's just a hierarchy. The state of Michigan gives them money, they give us money, and they want to make sure everybody's books balance. So then when they report back to Big Brother, they're not getting slapped on the wrist for not having accountability. So I know they stress us out, but hopefully we can work. It is my hope that we increase our fee for structure program so that we have less need on millage and less need on grants from them. But until that time, we're going to continue to have good working relationships.
So you got a thumbs up though.
I was so happy. I was
Yeah.
like, we got an attaboy.
Okay, in-home service report.
All right, I'll go get Leanne and introduce you to her. Sorry, I'm multitasking.
You want me to get her?
Yeah, you can go
Would
grab
you
her.
please?
I don't know if she's at her desk. I'll go send her. We have an internal little messenger that we can. Hey, come here.
Just providing they're sitting at their desk.
Yeah, exactly. I could be sitting at their desk.
Did you think about giving them pages?
I thought about it.
Can we get a count on how many are staying for lunch?
Lunch?
What are you having? Beef chip gravy? I mean, beef, yes, beef and gravy over mashed potatoes.
I'll try some of
Four.
that.
Now. So we have 4?
5.
5.
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this is Leanne. Leanne is our new in-home service coordinator. She is taking over. We had a little bit of staff turnover in that position. Gary, I know you're looking. We had some accountability standards, and these had to be met. And if you choose not to meet those standards, you have a new hire. So we are appreciative that Leanne is here. She has a lot of experience. Leanne, you want to introduce yourself to the board?
So how much do you want to know? No, so I guess let me start off with the easiest. So I was born and raised in Alcona County. My mother still lives in Harrisville. So I moved away and lived near Ann Arbor, but I worked for U of M for about 25 years before coming back up here. So I'm glad to be back in the area. That's the first part for me that I'm excited about.
I could see the Jersey probably accommodate.
I love it. So
Can you notice a trend? I got a lot of U of M people, right? All these alums. I'm like, okay, are you retiring here?
Well, you know, it does take maize and blue to make green.
Yeah.
we're gonna have trouble, aren't we?
Oh, no, believe me, I have no use for the farmer's college.
Go blue.
Amen.
So Leanne's going to give us the in-home service support. She's new to her position. How long have you been in this position so far?
This one?
Yeah, second
I
week.
think this is my second week.
Yeah, so
I've only been here a little over a month.
yeah, so yeah, she was originally hired in one position, and I was like, hey, no, you're too valuable. Let's push you in the back and into the deep end of the pool and say, can you swim? So she's been doing amazing. So you have a report for us?
Yep, so I have food counts. So for hot and frozen foods, we distributed 1,659, and sack lunches was 189 last month. And then
That's not in there. We will. I'll need to print that out for them.
you want to a copy?
No.
Okay.
You're like, no.
And then for in-home services,
I can't make a copy because these have client things on it. We'll just have to. We'll do a cleaner copy
gotcha. Okay.
just with the units.
For in-home services, homemaking was 150 hours or 150 and a quarter hours. PC is 20 and respite was 53. But with being new to this and kind of seeing these numbers and learning what I'm learning, I feel like these are a little low. So I've already talked to Lenny about it, and I'm going to do a little bit of an audit, make sure that our numbers are on. Okay.
Yeah. So when she told me that I said, okay, well, let's start pulling files. Let's start auditing. Let's see where we're at. And we found some discrepancies. You know, some of it was multiplication or adding incorrectly, counting units, understanding, you know, there's 4 units in an hour, and understanding that you go from 9 to 5, that's 8 hours. It's you can't mess that up, or you shouldn't mess that up. That is just pretty much the standard, but sometimes we're not getting that understanding. So if you move it 30 minutes forward or 30 minutes back, it's still going to show you 8 hours. So some of that we have to, you know, tighten up on. Any questions for Ms. Leanne?
Are you following up on, let's say I'm gonna clean this house at 9 o'clock, and then I got another one right here at 11 o'clock, but then I don't have another one until 4 o'clock, and it's down in Mankato. This one is in Hubbard Lake, and that one's in Mankato. Are you able, maybe not yet, but to say, okay, we got another client up here at Hubbard Lake, so let's let this person catch all 3 of them, instead of taking her from Hubbard Lake to Mankato, over to Black River, then out to Glenny.
So I thought of that because that's kind of what I'm doing a little bit today, is really looking at the schedule. Who do we have where? Because I would like to group them a little bit more together as far as where they live. So there isn't that back and forth. So that is to come. Also, we have the new generation software, which will make it, I don't want to say trackable, that's the wrong word, but it'll give us a better viewpoint of where our person is. And, you know, did they clock in on time? Were they running late? Like, did they leave early? What's happening there? Just so that we have a better idea of how long it's actually taking them to get from point A to point B.
Mhm.
You know, I always joke, I'm a little speed demon. I lived in Ann Arbor, so it's taken me a while to calm down up here, so I could probably make it.
Daryl will fix
that.
Dear the sheriff.
I've seen a couple in front of my car.
But you are following up on
Yeah.
that sort of thing too.
Yep, I'm
Good.
kind of looking at all of it with fresh eyes and trying to get a new perspective on it. I'm asking Lenny for guidance of, you know, what's doable, what's not, like, how do we want to work it? Because I want to make sure that we're servicing as many people as we can without burning out the staff we have.
Very good.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Leanne.
Does Leanne do that one where we can put somebody in a home and the government will pay us $18
Yeah.
for, and that's her project
She's
too?
also doing the VHS.
Good. That'll help us a lot.
Yep, accountability is gonna help us a lot. Awesome. So thank you, Leanne. I don't think I have anybody else out there that needs to come in, so.
Okay.
Oh,
And
Shauna will be last, but I'll get her in a second.
Does
Okay, and I'll
anyone
put
have
all the
any
new
questions
copies
for
for you.
Leanne? As far as,
Go blue.
Go blue. Hail to the victors, right?
There you go.
Thanks, guys. Nice meeting all of you.
how about the,
Food services.
how about Julie?
Julie, we are encouraging our staff to use their vacation time. So Julie took this week off as a vacation. I don't know where she's at, but I told her she can't be here. So we have a lot of people with a lot of vacation time forever. We need to start using it and encouraging people to take a respite, to take their own personal mental health to take a vacation. So she's taking a vacation. So as far as the food service report is going, I am pleased to report that we have reduced the cost of our meals from $9 to $7. That does not happen. We have reduced the cost per unit to produce the food since we started. Encouraged client participation surveys. So we send that out and we ask people how their food, what's it like, what do they, if they enjoy it, you know, all those kind of different things. So we have gotten some feedback. Some people are saying that they don't like the quality of food. Some people are saying that they do. It's all over the spectrum. You know, a little bit of this, I guess this is the pastor in me coming out. You want a better sermon, put more on the plate. But you know, we now are empowering Julie to understand the menu management program. We're paying for this program that, you know, we have to hit certain guidelines of nutritional value. Okay, and it's got to be free of things like, you know, MSG and all the crazy stuff that people react to. So, which has kind of made our seasoning just kind of run of the mill. Well, Gordon Foods has this whole menu management program that says this is what's approved federally and statewide of all the seasonings that you can use. So then now she can start picking from there to give it, you know, most of it's like Mrs. Dash kind of things that doesn't have the high sodium and those kind of everything, because we have to keep our food pretty bland. Because if we put too much salt and you're trying to cut back because your blood pressure, and now you got a lot of sodium. Now I'm not giving you a nutritious meal. Now you might as well get some ramen noodles because you got 600 milligrams of sodium. So we have to kind of have a balance of what we can do. So hopefully in this menu management program, which she's training in, it's going to help the food taste and quality kick up a little bit. I like, if you're something like me, you just keep a little bit of Tony Chachere's and some Tabasco sauce handy, and just make it work.
Have you any idea when we can reopen inside?
That is the question I'm ready to kind of entertain with the group. I guess since we're talking about the food program, let's talk about that. As a current, we've had about 3 weeks worth of outside congregate meals. Okay, we've had it between 4 and 8 participants. And what has kind of happened is the weather, because Michigan has gone from nice, warm, sunny days to frigid, cold afternoons. And by the time it's 5 o'clock, it's about 40 out there. So we have allowed the last couple of congregate meals to be inside because we're counting the winter temperatures as inclement weather. Okay, so we need to try to make a board decision on if we want to open up congregate dining full-time indoors, but still limit the amount that we're in. Most everyone don't understand the governor's executive order. They are basically thinking that because the restaurants are open, we should be open and in the same capacity. The executive order applies to those individuals who are selling 70% of their income in food. That falls under restaurants. We don't make 70% of our income in food sales. So we have a very different governance. Our governance are more like the healthcare centers, okay? Which says if your region is in this phase 4 or 3 or 5, you should be limiting the amount and size and scope of those individuals who you're allowing in. Now, if we were grouped in with Alpena and not grouped in with Saginaw, Flint, and Detroit areas, we would be in this happy zone, even though we've only had 20 or so, I believe, 20, less than 30 cases.
That we're up to about 44 now.
We jumped up, okay.
Well, for 200 with no more deaths. See, this way, when they do statistics, our death rate will be only 1%.
Right. So I think, we've gone up a little bit in our count, but at the last one, before I started working this, it was like at 30. So we only had like 2 deaths in them. So we still have to keep in mind that we're serving an aging population and it is aerosolized, and this is a closed area. So we don't have any cycled air going through. So I would be willing to possibly say we can still kind of do reserved seating, but we can do maybe less than 25 if we can social distance within, instead of saying, let's open our congregate meal program for any and all to come in. And I leave that to you guys to hash it out. Let's get it on. Ding, ding. All right.
Well, if you've got husband and wife, they can sit right there. And then this husband and wife can sit here. So are you counting those? That's 4 people already?
That's 4. That is not 2 people. That is 4 people.
But you still got a lot of 3 tables with nobody at them.
Right.
So why can't you fill those tables?
Well, that would be by reservation.
You can also include, like, if they bring their family with them, because I know you used to do that as well, they can all sit in that group and, if you want to.
Right. But then you've got 5 people at this table, but you got 6 tables back here that nobody's at. Can you put somebody, let more?
But even before, it's only got to the last week. Even before, when it was 70 something out there, we only had 4 to 6 participants. So it's not like a big groundswell of people banging at the doors to get back into this congregate meal program. So we're still kind of feeling this out, and I believe people are just erring on the side of caution. They're just not showing back up to the congregate meal program. So instead of just having an open debate, let's start right here. How many people would like to see it come back inside? Are you guys okay with having it come back inside?
Question, how many, under normal circumstances, how many are allowed to be in there?
Normal circumstances, everybody in here, we can have a capacity in between 50 and 75 people comfortably in it.
So if it was 50, they'd say you could have 25.
They'd say 25% of what your normal capacity.
25%?
Yes, 25% of occupancy. So we're at 50 people, half of that would be 25, half of that would be 15. So, you know, you're looking at, like I said, about 15 to 20 people. And that's pretty much what we had. We had it earmarked for 25 people to sit outside. So we can safely believe that we can sit 25 people in here safely with social distancing.
So can we make a motion that we'd like to do that?
We can, that's up to you guys.
I just did.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Are we going to consider opening up Glenny at this same time?
Wait, we got a motion here. Let's finish
Okay.
this. 25 people in Lincoln. Okay, any discussion? You have to do a discussion. And who seconded? Sam, you seconded. Okay.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Opposed?
wait. Dan, you gotta unmute yourself if you're gonna vote.
Aye.
Okay.
Oh, Dan's at the meeting?
Yep, they're up there. All right, so the motion passes.
How soon will this take place?
How soon will this take place?
Yeah.
Probably the next congregate meeting. We'll give it till tomorrow. We'll have them come inside, and then we'll have that congregate dining.
Can you get word out?
Yes, I'll send a robocall. I'm sure they love my robo voice. I've sent out a couple of those.
Yes, I got the line dancing.
Yeah, which
got
is
that too.
the next thing I'm gonna talk about too. Yeah. So we're good with 25 people in Lincoln. Now, you had a question about Glenn.
Yes.
What about your question about Glenn?
Are we gonna consider opening Glenny back up so
There's
our
a
meal
problem.
driver can drop their food off like they used to?
There's a
I doubt
problem
if anybody will show up.
because they say that we have to have a minimum of 10 people there. And we cannot get 10 people.
Yeah, we got too many in the hospital. We got 2 that are going to the hospital, 2 that need surgery now. I got 1 that has to stay at home all the time, and the other one would leave us 3.
Okay, so it doesn't sound like
I
Glenn.
think we're better off we just leave it closed.
At this point?
And just,
Yeah, because I got 2 people that definitely, 3 people that are definitely can't come.
Okay. Gary?
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here for a minute. Even if your numbers were less, it would be getting back to reconditioning people to regather is something, you know, I'm just throwing out there because I mean, you've seen this now since this whole, I don't know what to call it anymore, has taken place. People are kind of hesitant
You come back together.
and gun shy. So I'm kind of thinking, you know, it might be nice just to get used to seeing people kind of gather together again.
I
mean,
said,
you understand what I'm.
a phased approach. That's why we started doing the line dancing again. That's why we're gonna start doing painting classes. That's another thing. But
So I know NEMSCA would be upset about the number being under 10, but on the other hand, you know, the chances are if you keep leaving this thing vacant, people will kind of say, well, you know, I ain't been there now in X amount of months and
unfortunately, that's ACCOA, that's a state standard, and then for them to reimburse us, we have to have a certain number.
And
So
it doesn't make sense to me.
right now.
You'll deliver to every one of us at our homes,
Mhm.
which is miles and miles and miles. But yet, to deliver in one spot to all of us is a no-no.
Right.
You have to have 10.
well, at this point, I guess I'm saying, you know, a business decision, sometimes you lose money to make a lot more. I'm kind of saying, I mean, and again, you don't have to take what I'm saying, but understand what I'm giving it. And, you know, you may be getting geeked for doing this, but you're still leaving it out there. We're still here.
I'll send out in our newsletter, a questionnaire about the Glenny site. And if those individuals would be willing to register to come in, because, you know, we want to prepare. It's not like our normal calendar where we just make 50 meals and whatever's left we throw in. So now I'll send out a questionnaire about the Glenny site.
I didn't mean to complicate anything. Just
Of course, like I have all this time. No. All right, so you covered that. Really quick, I want to circle back to you if you don't mind, Dolores. I got a question. Roger, do you know that you're on the Region 9 AAA council?
Yeah, I'm all done in December.
Okay, have you been attending those meetings?
Yes,
Okay, via
you have
Zoom?
to phone in.
Yeah, okay, just want to make sure.
They're not cheap.
Okay.
Okay,
I just
they're
want-
very expensive, okay?
Okay, I just want to make sure that you knew that you were on that council because there
Yeah.
was, do you have a representative? And I'm like, I don't know. And then I'm checking documents and I find that I'm like, does he know? And everybody's like, we don't know.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Okay,
I've been on it since last year.
okay.
When they had it up there, it was nice to drive up there. It was a good, the meetings were good, very informative.
Good.
And they paid gas mileage, which wasn't bad. So, it was good. It was good meetings, okay? But phoning in is really hard. And, it's hard just looking at a phone, okay?
Gotcha.
Not to mention it's portable. You-
And it's-
goes down.
And it's very expensive, okay?
Gotcha. Okay, so you want to do the food bank one?
Okay, yes, we'll go to the food bank of
Well, they're still looking for somebody, okay?
Okay,
They're
well,
looking for 2 people because I'm all done in December.
we'll have to definitely get
So-
somebody from our board. Hopefully they can step in for that.
That's up to you.
So I'll tell you, we just signed a contract again with Gordon Foods to provide pop-up pantries from the months of October through December. Gordon Foods kind of threw us a curveball. They're willing to provide us the same amount of boxes, but with no meat. So we have to figure out how we're gonna get meat to the public. So we're gonna try to work out with the Food Bank of Eastern Michigan again to provide meat. We've had a couple of our sites that are normally, we had 9 sites, they've bowed out because they just couldn't keep the number of volunteers going. And we've helped some of the other sites become their own food pantry with Gordon Foods. Like we've helped Glenny, like Glenny kept going up from 125 to 150 to 175. And at that point, the logistics of getting that out there, we just said, okay, for this season right now, let's have you get help. We also purchased a big yellow goose out there for our delivery so we can move it out to some of these sites. We have about 4 sites, I think, that are still going to stay on board with us. I believe Mankato, I believe Hubbard Lake are still interested. So we're going to solidify that in October once we have a concrete date of when the USDA is ready to start this program.
Mitchell's still on board with you guys?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe she is. So she would be, I don't know what her number of cases are going to be, if they're going to go up or go down. But like I said, we had some, like Barton City is still on the fence. I think there might be a no. But, we also have to keep track of, we're doing this in the outside, October in Michigan. It can be sunny or it can be snow, So we're going to be running from October to November with those. But we're not going to do it every week. Our staff is just burnt out. So we're going to do it maybe once a month or twice a month.
I think once a month is
Well,
better.
I know sitting in the Mitchell Township meeting, because I live out there, I know Carla, they've kind of planned for that because they're going to use the township hall for the, and they'll appreciate the colder weather, because if there is any meat, they can leave it outside.
Leave it outside and stay cold, so that's it. We just did our Census 2020 pop-up pantry, and I believe that was a success. We gave away 74 backpacks full of school supplies to kids. We gave away 7 out of the 8 bikes and helmets that we had. I got some pictures. We'll try to put that up on the website and put that out in the newsletter. We had about 340 or so cars show up. It sent me in a panic because normally we kind of allocate, we try to figure out how many cars we were gonna get, but because we hadn't had a pop-up in a few weeks and we didn't have all of the other sites open, it was a flood of people in that parking lot. We had already parked 120 cars by like 2:45, and then it wrapped around the district office where Dan's office is, all the way around. So it started that way, wrapped all the way around, went all the way back to the middle school parking lot, came back around all the way back to Barlow Road, and then went down 20 cars down Barlow. And I just was like, I need to call the police. Hey, we need traffic help because because you only get so many cars if you get into a turning lane. After that, you're parked on the road, and there were literally people parked on the road. So our staff did an amazing job. We stayed out of the buses' way. That was one of the big things. I wanted to make sure that we were not going to cause a problem for the schools and stay out of their paths. So they put together a pretty good plan, and we got all of those cars out in less than an hour and 20 minutes. Everybody got food, and then we gave away clothing, shoes. It was just really done really well, and I can't tell you how blessed I am to have an amazing group, especially volunteers. Most of the people have been with us from the beginning, and they just give up their time, and they just continue. I would love to do like a steak dinner for them, but they have been doing such an amazing job for just feeding the community and getting the food out there. So our next round of those are going to start up in October.
Well, I gotta hand it to Debbie because she's got, this one's telling her this and this one's telling her that, and then this 10 is asking her questions, and I mean, her mind is in 20 different directions all at once, and she's doing a very good job.
We got about 5 or 6 bosses out there.
Yes.
Yeah, including her kids.
Yeah, her kids really tell her what to do.
I want you to do this. Nope.
But no, she does a very good job out there, though. Do we have any questions on the food bank? Okay, Lenny, you have a
All right.
executive director report?
Yes. Okay. So I want to cover a couple of good things that's happened. Some of you might be aware that you might have heard on the radio. I want you to turn to the grants. This little section that has grant sheets. It should look like this because we need to talk about what we're going to do with some of this grant money. So we've identified a couple of needs. When we met back a few months ago, we talked about the importance of getting a secondary van so we're not taking out our big shuttle. So I am going to attempt to share my screen here. Maybe I'm going to share my screen here. So I want to give an opportunity. Dan, why don't you guys take yourself off of mute? Let me know if you can see what I'm doing here.
I can see.
All right, perfect. Let me go to this email. Where are we? Hang on, I gotta find the email.
Ron Beal, he's got to go in for an operation. I don't know, I didn't get all of it. Lorraine's got a pensioner and everything.
Oh,
Okay, so I just thought you wanted, I seen them Sunday,
okay, thank you.
they were at Check Machine. I don't know
That's right, that's from Ann Arbor, that's what you think.
I'll tell you what, he looks like. He aged about 10 years. Okay,
Okay,
so I thought I'd
I'll give
mention
him a
it.
buzz.
Yeah, be nice. He'd appreciate it.
Somewhere it got lost in translation here. I'm trying to find the email I just sent out to Dan and Mike about the transportation vehicles here.
I was trying to think of somebody from planning to get on the board. I was wondering about Vicky Good.
Who?
Vicky Good. I think her last name's Good. She goes in Methodist church.
Hey, Dan, that email I sent to you and Mike that had that link, can you forward it back to
I
me,
don't like the fact.
I know that's what you're saying.
please?
I don't like him, and I ain't going. So, Judy, I watch it on TV. Okay, that's good. She hasn't pushed on it, so.
Or some, then I wondered about Deanna Sweet.
I talked to two people over it last day. They're just.
Just send it, Lenny.
Okay,
A couple of, can't think of his name.
there we go. Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
On what we can do.
Okay, now let's do this again. All right, so as you can see in the grants, we were awarded from the Community Foundation of Northeastern Michigan 3 grants. I submitted 4 grants and we were funded 3 out of the 4. We were funded $1,500 from their community impact grant for what I like to call the program EPIC, or is known as Engaging People in Creativity. Okay, now what we're going to use this EPIC grant for is senior art classes. I've talked to Ashley from Cobby Goose, and she's going to be teaching art classes for our seniors. We're going to be painting, we're going to be doing a bunch of things. We're going to do things indoors and upstairs because that's a big enough space to socially distance. We can have a lot more students. She gave us an amazing rate. So that's going to be starting here in October 5th, around that time. I'll be putting on a flyer. It's open and it's free. We're also going to be adding a congregate meal for lunch. We're just trying to warm people up to kind of getting back in the building again, to eating at these normal times that we used to have lunch times. So now we're just trying to acclimate those individuals. So that was $1,500 that we're going to be using for this entire fiscal year for next year. So from October 1 to September 30th of next year. So we have that entire year to use that grant. Okay, right here, I also submit to the Women's Giving Circle at Northeastern Michigan, as well as another community impact grant for a transportation vehicle. Okay, we were given $2,500 and $1,500 for those 2 grants, which brings us to $4,000. Okay, so this is, oops, excuse me, my number's wrong. I got the same thing. Okay, so we were given much more. We're given $2,500 from the Women's Giving Circle for Transportation Alcona, our transportation project, and we were given $3,000, not $1,500, $3,000 from the Community Impact Grant for transportation. So that's $5,500 that Northeastern Michigan Community Foundation invested into us and into our community to pay and buy one of a transportation vehicle. Now, I don't like to present anything if I hadn't had a chance to vet it. Okay, so I took the opportunity and we looked at all these different dealers. We quoted out. I am a Michigan homer only because it's more money to pay for freight when you buy it out of state. So that gets lumped into the overall cost, even though we might pay $14,000 out of state, but if it's $3,500 to ship it to us, we might as well just buy instant, okay? I managed to find a dealer in Battle Creek that does conversion. They're a direct manufacturer, so they buy used vehicles and then our newer vehicles and make the conversions there, okay? So if we ever had a problem, we can go there. And there's 3 vehicles I want to show the board today, and hopefully we can make a decision on purchasing, okay? So they are not motorized. The lifts are not motorized, okay? And there's a reason for that. We're gonna go through all 4 and we're gonna show you why it's not motorized, okay? First thing first, I'll show you my number 1 choice is a 2019 Dodge Caravan GT with 31,000 miles on it. This is ADA compliant and is fully loaded. It has GPS and navigation, okay? Our price would be $27,330, and we'll click it and we'll take it to the website and we'll look there. So this is the, it'd be a white Dodge Caravan minivan with rear entry, okay? So that ramp will go all the way to the center of the vehicle, okay? So as you kind of look though, it's called a Neo van. This is what that would look like. It's a 2019. Some of the pictures on the outside. So that's how the lift would fold back up into itself right there. This is a picture of the dash. As you can see, that's the GPS tracking up top here. All of their conversions has the capability of having a fold down seat. So if we had a ramp rider, or we can have 5 mobile people in that van. So if we had someone that needed a wheelchair, we can use a wheelchair. If not, we should be able to seat 5 individuals in that car in the back seat.
Is that only 1 wheelchair per trip then?
Yes, I mean, we could fit 2. It's enough for 2, but we're going to be doing 1 because of FERPA and HIPAA. Well, not FERPA, for HIPAA.
Okay, I'm just.
Yeah, so there's tie downs for 2. So that's the look of their and it's a 2019, and it has 31,000 miles on it. Okay, next is the 2018 Dodge Caravan XXT with 42,000 miles, and it's about 2,000 difference in price because of higher mileage. And then that, I believe, is gray. And it's very similar to the 2019. Only difference is the color. As you can see, the conversion goes all the way to the belly. So it doesn't have to lift up. You just roll all the way to the inside of the vehicle. And it has to pass ADA compliance. As you can see how that ramp goes and extending all the way up through here, you go into there. The same bucket seating.
Question,
Mm-hmm.
is any of those mechanism parts on the those cars, are they exposed to the outside weather? Because if they are, I think in the winter time especially, they get ice and snow on there.
It has a built into the compartment. It goes into the car itself. It folds into itself. And that's the reason why the guy basically was saying that not having non-hydraulics is that you don't have to replace hydraulic fuel. It's just a spring-loaded thing. It just pulls out. I'll show you a video on how it works next.
Okay.
So this is the inside. As you can see, I told you that you had the passenger seating. You had 2 seating, and this is the very same similar setup as the other one. So then you have that, and then they have a bench seat that folds down right here. You see this bench seat that's right there up against the wall that it will lay down. So now you're back to having 5 occupants in there, or 2 occupants in a wheelchair rider, you know.
Can you do that in the other van?
We have that shuttle. You can do that in the shuttle. We have 12 seats and then 2 tie downs for that. So our full capacity, you can seat 12, and then the state says you can stand 6, and then you can sit 2 in the back in a wheelchair. So that total capacity has a 20 capacity shuttle right there. So that's another look. And then here's that bench seat I was telling you about right there. Okay, so then that is the 2018 And then we have another 2018 GT. It's also loaded. And that is another dark color sedan or dark color SUV. So does that pull up? I know. Everybody's pulling in and out. Okay, so again, very similar. They're all doing the exact same conversions. This has a little bit less mileage or a little bit more mileage because it's an older vehicle. And it's very similar.
Channel are ADA compliant, giving the space needed for bariatric wheelchairs and the option to transport two wheelchair occupants. These benefits have made it very attractive for non-emergency medical transportation and taxi businesses. This versatile setup also allows for a gurney stretcher application. Our spring-assisted aircraft-grade aluminum ramp is lightweight and extremely easy to operate. They are also powder coated, which gives the ramp a non-skid surface and protects against corrosion.
That is horrible. Hold on. I'm gonna play it on the other computer because that was just god awful. Stop sharing here, and then. Technology, right?
It's wonderful.
When it works.
When it works.
Then he wonders why we don't want it.
Go back to paper.
Right.
Paper, pencil, and erasers. Big erasers.
Freedom Motors rear entry full cut conversion is the most.
Okay, hang on. Now I have to share it so everybody can see it on their screen. Alrighty. So now you guys can see it now.
Motors rear entry full cut conversion is the most popular option in the mobility industry. Our 34-inch wide ramp and channel are ADA compliant, giving the space needed for bariatric wheelchairs and the option to transport two wheelchair occupants. These benefits have made it very attractive to non-emergency medical transportation and taxi businesses. This versatile setup also allows for a gurney stretcher application. Our spring-assisted aircraft-grade aluminum ramp is lightweight and extremely easy to operate. They are also powder-coated, which gives the ramp a non-skid surface and protects against corrosion. Inside the vehicle, we've done a commercial-grade flooring, which is very durable and easy to maintain. All of our ADA-compliant rear entry conversions come standard with Q-Straight's 4-point tie-down system to safely secure two wheelchair passengers. Standard with the conversion, you'll get bucket seats in the second row, so you can travel with a total of 4 ambulatory people. We also offer a folding third row bench seat option to accommodate an additional 2 ambulatory passengers. Freedom Motors offers factory direct savings, being a manufacturer and selling directly to the end consumer. Don't pay the inflated prices at mobility dealers. We are the inventors of the rear entry conversion and have been doing it longer than any manufacturer in the country. Affordability, quality, and service is what we're all about. So please give us the opportunity and let's grow your business together.
All right. All right. so now let's get back to the meeting here. Once we start to have a little bit more business relationship, I'll ask her for some more financial information. But she says that there's no problem with what the money's in her name. Well, she said, told me that.
Is it just Monday through Friday that would be in service?
She just went, I mean, that's mainly because that's pretty much time when people go to doctor's offices anyway.
Right.
You know, our big shuttles, my thought is for congregate meals, for shopping trips. You know, I want to start doing that next fiscal or in October. Like, hey, we're going to Alpena, we're going to hit Myers, Walmart, and downtown Alpena for shopping. You know, and then that'd be the day trip for that whole shuttle. And then, you know, we look at excursions like, hey, we're going to go do this at Picture Rock, or hey, we're going to go do this at the casino, or hey, we're going to go to the museum, and, you know, those kind of different things for that. And then we can offer local transit for here for Alcona Health Centers. Those kind of
Say my husband was in the hospital and I wanted to visit him on Saturday or Sunday. Could I hire them?
You could. We would just have to work out, like as it is right now, we've had, and I want to give you this. Since this program is right here, this mileage log, okay, this is your mileage log sheet. Since we've been running, we have done 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 trips since the beginning of August. So, and this is really between 3 and 4 people, and we really haven't got the word out 100%. Like, we haven't really hit it hard in the newspaper. We've just started kind of put out some flyers. We just kind of did 1 or 2 robocalls, and we just kind of advertised locally, and we've gotten already 11 trips already booked in just from this past month. So I really want to make sure Shauna has stepped into that role. She's going to be our transition, our transportation manager. And I really wanted her to kind of get used to the new software, get the drivers get used to the system and how we work. And then we're going to just turn the nozzle and open up the floodgates, because we kind of started small so we can understand how this works. So, which brings us back full circle to where we're at, which was the 3 different vehicles that we have options for to do. I think if we can approve a price range and stay within that price range versus a particular vehicle, because if somebody comes to me and I say, okay, we're looking at this vehicle, because I'm a businessman and I'm a haggler, I will say, my board approved this price for this vehicle. Can you beat it? And I guarantee you, people will move heaven and earth to make that happen. So, but if you vote and say just that vehicle, then my hands are tied to just that vehicle versus you saying a price range of this for that. Keep in mind, we're knocking $5,500 off of that, because $5,500 is grant money that's going to that. And earlier in our financials, as you can see, we have that just in what we just made in the last month or 2 from the stock. So we have that in the bank to do that, to cover this expense.
Is there factory warranties,
There's a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty.
even though they're 2018 and 2019?
Yes, because they're still used vehicles and they do the conversion thing on them. You know, I do believe in kicking the tires. You know, Battle Creek is not that far of a drive versus the other one was like 2.5 or 3.5 hours south. And that was a little too far, and that was like in the middle of the height of COVID. Now that I kind of see where this thing is fluctuated, you know, I'm willing to travel a little bit to come kick the tires. But, you know, what do you guys think is a good price range? 30,000, less than 30, between 25 and 30?
Well, first, how does people feel about, do we really need it?
Okay, let's start there.
I mean, we've got the bus and we got the Jeep,
Mhm.
but we need something that can, instead of taking something that can carry 15 people, we need something that can carry 3.
Right. Right. With the wheelchair ramp.
Yeah.
Because right now we're using the Jeep Patriot a lot. That's the primary car. We've had 3 trips that I know we had to take the shuttle bus. We took a veteran down to the VA hospital who needed his amigo to go with him, and we took them down there. That's a good trip for us. However, that's a bus.
Yeah.
You know, if it wasn't for the gas being so low, you know, that's a little bit overkill. You know, that's like taking like a motorhome to Taco Bell. You know,
What's the Jeep used for?
for this program. The Jeep right now is our company vehicle, but we're not really using it. We're not going to retreats. We're not going to anything. Okay. So we put that Jeep into this transportation program. So the Jeep is our primary source for ambulatory people. So if you call me, you don't need a wheelchair and you need to go to Alpena, you hop in the back, Mark takes you to Alpena, takes you to your doctor, you come back. You call me and say, I need to go to Petoskey. You don't need a wheelchair, you jump in that Jeep and we take you to Petoskey.
Doesn't the in-home service girls use it to go evaluate that person and evaluate that?
They do, but it's so few and far between. You know, right now it's kind of both. You know, like also, you know, Debbie uses it to pull the trailer behind them. But now that we have the U-Haul or the bigger U-Haul, we can pull the trailer with the U-Haul. So now we have all of that in one, you know, contained little area now.
Does anybody have any questions on if we need it or not, or do we want to say, yes, we need it and then put a cap on we can spend this much money?
Myself, I can see, Lenny's, view on it, because why take that big bus all the way down to Saginaw or wherever, long distance like that, with one person?
Right. How many miles does our Jeep have on it? Quite a few, doesn't it?
Over 100 and something thousand.
Just
Yeah,
broken.
quite a few.
Yeah, just wondering, yeah.
But, you know, we bought that Jeep used, it's a 2011, you know, and would I buy it again? No, I'd probably buy like a station wagon or four-door sedan, you know, something like that. I wouldn't have picked the Jeep Patriot.
What's the difference in gas mileage with the big deal and this deal?
This one's more economy because it's kind of like the soccer mom, so it has 29, and that one has like 21 or 22.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
I'm surprised.
Just a point of input. I took and divided the 5,500 in half. So that would be 2,750. So if I multiply that times 10, that would give you 20% down on the loan. It looks to me, if that's the way you wanted to go, 27.5 would be like.
Roughly, yeah. I mean, because
that's what, you know.
I would prefer we don't do them alone. I prefer we get a little bit better leverage because we don't have to pay that extra 3% in financing charges, and we just hit them with just a check, and then money moves people. You know, I'd be like, hey, my board liked that 27 number, but they started complaining, can we get it for 25.5? I mean, that's how we got that down to 19. It was 22, 23, and I got it down. I was like, well, like, what's gonna move your board? 20,000, you know, because you guys had already approved the amount. I just kept getting into this. Get it a little bit lower. Let's get a little bit lower. $500, you know. So,
Do we want to make a cap on how high we will go?
Sounds good.
Does anybody have any ideas on how much money we should start at?
How much was that, the first one?
the white one was 27,000. Hang on, let me pull it up here. Oh, that's not our price. That's
the lowest mile.
It had 31,000 miles on it, and it's a 2019, and that was 27,330. So if you take 27,000, so you take $27,330 and subtract 5,500 from it. The agency cost is $21,830. That's the cost to us in buying a 2019 transportation vehicle. Which I can tell you what they are asking for on their website. Let's go to their website. They're asking $34,430 on their website for that same vehicle that they're giving us for 27.
That's 2019, right?
Yep, and that's a 2019. I don't know the mileage of the last one. I got the mileage on the other two. The second one is 42,000 miles, but I don't know about the 2018 Dodge Caravan.
So if you offer this guy cash, he might come down
He did come down. We offered him cash. It was 34, now it's 27.
27.
Being the deer, it's only approximately a year old, and number of miles on it, and that I'd say that would be the best.
Actually, it's 2 years old.
Well,
So 2021s are out.
Right, yeah. But still. It could be late model. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 31,000 miles on it.
Yeah, that's low mileage.
That's very low mileage.
Yes.
Nobody really took a
Yes.
lot on that. That car did take a lot of beating, you know.
Why did the people get rid of it?
They're a dealer. They buy wholesale. So they just go, like, it probably was a lease. Like, so they're a dealer, and then they basically take the conversion and put the conversion in the car. So they cut the floorboard and they make it a handicap accessible car. So they're a dealer. So we're buying directly from a manufacturer
Okay.
of the company. So they just buy cars
Hey, Lenny.
all over the. Yeah.
they go to auction and buy
Lenny,
them by auction.
having worked for a dealership for 7 years, I can tell you that a car of that age with that mileage is almost assuredly a lease turn-in. So it would have been well cared for.
Lease.
Had to be a lease.
I'll make a motion to accept, the 27,330.
So you want to just purchase that one, you don't want to, just that one, you don't want to,
Well,
If-
check, like you said earlier, you got a couple other dealers. Go to them and see what they have.
but if you do it that way, I'm gonna have to have
Yeah.
a secondary meeting
Right.
for you to vote on that versus you giving me a number that I can spend up to.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, that'd be better, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say you spend up to 30,000 and leave it at that.
And then,
That way there, he could manipulate it a little bit, maybe get it lower than even 30,000, maybe get it lower than 27,000. If he goes to the guy and says, well, look, I'll give you 25,000 cash right this minute, the guy's liable to jump on it, okay?
Okay.
He saved us some
I
money.
think 30,000 is a better.
I think that'd be a nice gap. Well,
All in favor of,
well, yes, somebody has to second that. motion.
Seconded.
Okay.
at 30,000?
30,000 is our ceiling, that's our max.
All in favor of the 30,000?
Like, we have to do a roll call.
Roll call.
I'll have to have a roll call.
Okay.
Aye.
Deb?
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we gotta call out names, okay. All right, Dan, what's your vote?
Yes.
Okay, Bev Zorn,
Yes.
Stan,
Yes.
Roger,
yes,
Rollin,
Yes.
Mike for you continuity. For the greater-
Yes.
for greater consensus, Dolores,
Yes.
all right. So the motion passes unanimously, okay. All right, so that will give me some wiggle room. Once this board meeting's over, I will go haggle and go beat them up.
yeah, maybe you could save us some more money.
I'll be like, man, look, man, I just got on my board meeting. They're not happy with that price, brother. Can we come at 25.5 and I can get you a check next week?
Well, you got
Of course.
good-
Well,
You're a good talker,
make it
that's
tomorrow
good.
if you can get it for 22.
Okay. All right, so
What's this?
Those are the meal.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, more paperwork.
I also, thank you for that. So we're moving along with the report. I also put in there a grant expense report. I think it's important so you know what we spent our census and we bought, it should be this one, the grant expense report. So we received $2,500 in census money from the Community Foundation of Northeastern Michigan. And we spent pretty much all of that to remain of like $10.29. I think we have a balance left over of $10.29. But we bought backpacks, we bought Chromebooks, we bought 6 Chromebooks and their licenses, bikes and helmets with that grant. And then now that we have this grant here, I will give you a lowdown of that, which is pretty much, we're just gonna take the entirety of the grant and put that toward what we're spending, and then provide them a report and VIN number of what we paid for. Okay. I will kind of do like we had a closed session, and I just will put this in there. Nothing came of it. This was a response back from our insurance company. So it was a response that basically said that there was nothing really to worry about at this particular time. And if there is something to worry about, they will let us know. So this is an internal memo or document. Please make sure that that you just look it over. And if you don't need it, shred it, burn it, whatever you need to do. So that doesn't get out there. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to talk about some of this other stuff here. Dance. Revolution Dance has just started. They've been doing up their last 2 weeks, and they've been having a bunch of kids running around. It's super cute to watch them on camera dance around there. And I can tell you, it brings excitement for me because it brings life back in there. This place has been super quiet. You know, it's just been us and our thoughts, and having people back in the building has been super awesome. So we're super pumped that our seniors, we've had 5 seniors do the line dancing. I got a chance to get a couple of pictures. They were doing boot scoot boogie, you know, up there. And it's really great to see them out there just kind of getting up there and moving. I talked briefly about the EPIC grant and how we're going to be doing painting. So senior painting. So if you know of somebody who's interested in doing senior painting, please, 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 please let them know. Our millage is due on November 3rd. So if you are voting early, if you know of anybody who is voting early, let them know. Please ask them to support the senior millage.
You got any signs?
We do have signs out here that you guys can take and put in your yard. We passed over the other previous election, so we can put that out there. As far as public places, I'll have to get with you where publicly we could put it out there, where we could put it from the road, just to get the correct, so that we don't have a Robert Kennedy situation where people taking our sign. Yeah, I did throw him under the bus. Okay, just now. he was stealing signs. That's what he got caught with. He was stealing signs.
Who's stealing signs?
Robert Kennedy, the guy who ran against Sue Eller a couple years back. He was taking her signs
Yeah,
and moving. And
4
he
years
said,
ago.
yeah, he said he was moving them because they were not the correct length from the road.
But they were kind of hard to see in his trunk.
He's like, I was just taking it back to the Republican office. They just happened to be in my car for the last few weeks. So yes, we want to get with that and get with this. I also want to kind of put this on your radar. This is the last thing about the new building. I want to make sure that we are on the same page. I had an opportunity to talk with Alcona Health Centers, okay? And they are bringing this up to their board this month about purchasing the 13 acres, which is right next to their center, okay? So that everybody kind of has an idea. Do I need to pull it up on Google? Everybody kind of has an idea of what we're talking about? Mm-hmm. Yes? Okay, so basically it's the school is here, Alcona Health Center is here, and there's a 13 acres of this bog land there. And it eats up to, I forgot the name of this road, but it's like right there. They're willing to sell us some of that land.
Any restrictions? Because I know you and I talked at one time about property that was.
Yeah. I don't think there's any restrictions of that. And I do know there's some land on the other side that's school's property. We may be able to lease also to widen it out. But they're looking at talking with their board to determine if in fact they're willing, if they're going to expand within the next decade. They're super excited to put some type of new facility like this, like ours, right next to theirs, because it just makes sense. And it puts us right in the middle of everything in Lincoln. Now, I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to the DDA and building back in Mills Industrial Parkway. It's just in the middle of nowhere. We would have to bring water. We would have to bring electricity. We would have to bring a whole lot of infrastructure to that versus building right off that road, right next to the fiber optic lines, right next to power. We could tap in, to the sewage. Well, we don't have sewage, but we could tap into some of all the existing things right there. Now, that's going to raise our cost because we're going to have to purchase the land instead of getting the land as a grant plus a little bit of money from the DDA. So that's cost benefits. With that also said, I have been back and forth. Did I show you guys a 3D model of the property? No. That we are at the point The Fed said that they're willing to pay for the business incubator, but not the senior center. And they're willing to pay for pennies and dollars all the way down to the concrete pouring for community, for a business incubator. But the moment it starts to cross-pollinate over into the senior center, that money dries up. So I have to do feasibility studies. I have to do all the different things to get that going. That's going to take some time. So our building project has kind of not been on hold, just we had to slow down, pump our brakes a little bit. So once we have all the hard costs, we'll put together public hearings and open this up to forums. We'll talk to the commissioners. We'll sit down and we'll have a plan of action to present this to the public. If the public chooses not to support this initiative and is voted down, then a very smaller scale version, I mean, half of the cost what we're looking at, of what we're looking at. You know, ideally, yeah, we could have bought that from over in Glenny, but then we're moving all of our operations over there. We're spending a few $100,000 in that, you know. So we want to try to keep it in Lincoln. We want to try to keep it into this central area, and it'd be great to kind of keep it in this hub next to the school.
I've got a really dumb question, but I worked with Daryl on the, they were talking about in Curtis Township about business, and they were looking at opportunity zones.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I just from what I remember, because it was the dumbest looking thing I ever saw, it looks like there's a lot of opportunity like toward Mankato area.
We are in one in Lincoln. I just talked to them.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
All of Oconee County is considered an opportunity zone for the feds, but they don't spend any money there. All right, and that was one of the things I talked to them about, and they were trying to rectify that. They're trying to say, okay, but you got to jump through these hoops to get the money. Like, you know, submit this paperwork, submit that paperwork, do this in triplicate, you know, give us this. Give us a letter to say that you went to every bank and said that you cannot financially get a loan based off of the rates that we give you federally. So I literally went to the bank and said, hey, can you beat this rate? Absolutely not. You know, I can't give you 2.2 3/4 rate on a $3 million loan. No. Can I have a letter stating that? Just get out of my office now. But that's basically what I had to do. I had to shop Huron Community, I had to shop Northland, you know, and say, hey, could we do that? You know, so I had to turn all of that stuff in. So there's some processes and things that we have to kind of go through. So once we clear that hurdle, I will have a truth in lending cost. So if the total project is $3 million, and let's say the business incubator portion is $750,000, then we're only asking for 2.2 from the community. But if we're able to throw at it $500,000 towards it from our operational budget, then that becomes an ask of 1.4. I think that's what thinking about that is correct. And that becomes a little bit less. That becomes a case of beer per tax value versus $100 in tax value. You know, and having public hearings, having people say, well, why do we need a community center? Why do we need a senior center? Why? Well, because I want to get rid of the view that this is only for poor people, that this is only for older people, and that is it. Because there's so many people that do not use the senior center because they believe it belongs to just the seniors, and you have to be poor to use the services. That is not true. But there's a lot of.
Hale changed their name?
What's that?
Is that why Hale changed their name?
Yes, because people, they want younger people to be in the building, and if we're not able to bring in younger people, they're not going to want to keep it up, keep the upkeep. You know, so I am trying to put things in there like a workout gym, a workout facility, so people can come in and work out all the hours of the day, you know, including nighttime hours, to have accessible from MSU Extension to use a suite. You know, they're renting a county building all the way out in Harrisville. They're already out in Harrisville. If I bring them right here to Lincoln, they're right next to their initiative, which is the school. You know, FFA, if people are able to use the, you know, the farm, the fork, or some of these other programs are able to use a commercial kitchen that we're going to be giving to the public to use, that's just going to bring out more opportunities. So that's our hope, is to lasso as many people and to get this thing across the finish line as possible. Any questions there? Architect, he said, sends us best. He just had other projects that were more pressing right now that we're going to finalize this month. And I believe that is me for the director's report.
Okay. Building and grounds,
Nothing.
fundraiser.
Is Dean still cutting their grass? Is he doing that?
I don't know, you have to get all
Okay.
of them.
Programming,
I got a question for you. You're doing fundraising, correct?
I have no idea. I haven't done it in quite some time.
Okay, whoever is on the fundraising committee, I like to sit down, and when we get the go-ahead to fully open, I want to try to do like a crawfish boil or jambalaya. I'm Cajun, all right? I'm from Louisiana, and I love to cook, and I would love to do like, 5 to 10 hour plate dinners that we can do red beans and rice, or, maybe not po' boy because there's a lot of meat, but, something like that, big kind of dinners, and we can hold it upstairs and call it,
Just as long as all the food is cooked to standard.
I'm gonna tell you this, I'm gonna have 2 pots, Cajun and weakling. And we will have seasoning in the pot. So if you don't handle spice, you may not want to show up to that dinner, but I want to do a lot more than what we're doing as far as fundraising, getting some of these things opportunities. So I want to plan for next fiscal, putting some of this stuff on the calendar. And if COVID makes us cancel next year, then that's canceling next year. But I still want to start putting these things on the calendar so we can start planning, putting brain power behind it, and go from there.
So we can look and see who all is on the fundraiser and have a meeting. Program and planning. Personnel.
We've had some turnover in personnel. As you can see, some people are here, new people are hired. Our continuing pain in the butt is our direct care worker staff. I'd like to raise everyone up, but I have to wait until November 3rd to see if our millage passes. If our millage passes, that gives me a projection of 6 years of what I can see and what I can do, but I have to, and I'm praying to God that Congress doesn't help again. I know that's wrong, but they helped a lot of people to stay on the couch and not come back into the workforce, and I can't compete with $16 and $15 an hour for somebody to sit on the couch and play PlayStation. So if we don't get any more help from our Congress, I think we can probably fill it. But I am actively looking for at least 5. I said that last month, 5 to 10 more people. We've been to this job fair, and it was like literally 10 people there. A job fair, and there was only a handful of people there.
Well, they're getting unemployment. Why go to work?
Exactly. So I don't
They
want
can
to.
sit at home,
I don't
go
wanna-
fishing and sit on the stream.
Exactly. So I don't want to have to
Drink
do
beer
that.
and smoke pot.
Well, geez,
Well, and then here's another thing we keep having happen to us. People call us and submit an application and then don't show. Because then when they go on the line, were you actively looking for work? Yeah, I submitted an application. All right, you're good for another 2 weeks to mooch off the state.
There you go.
And that's what we've been running into. We're like, oh, look, we got 10 applications. Thanks, God. Awesome. None of them show up.
Go figure.
Well, the nomination committee, which they should start that pretty quick
Start this
because
pre-process. Who's on that?
Me, myself, and I.
all 3 of us.
All right, well, we need to figure out some other
Okay.
people on there.
I've talked to Kathleen here, and she's on the commissioners board like you mentioned before. She's been to our meetings and that. And since she didn't get her other job that she was running for in that, I asked her if she considered being on our board, because from my understand, you two are.
No, I got 2 more years.
You got 2 years?
I'm done.
She's all finished.
This is your last
Only
meeting.
one?
I believe that this is Bev's last meeting.
Okay, I was under the impression that there's two.
No, I got 2 more years.
Okay,
Kathleen, are you local? Are you here? Are you in
Upper Lake,
Upper Lake area? Okay, that's my area. Are we neighbors?
I don't know, east way of Upper Lake,
Yeah, I say Upper Lake. Where are you at? North side, east side?
near Churchville Point off Bennett Road.
Okay, we're kind of neighbors. I'm over by Smokies.
Oh, right across the bay from us.
I can see you.
Probably.
When all of your people starts partying, I sit back on my porch and go, oh, it's so quiet on the old people side. I don't have to worry about all those knuckleheads at the boats, and you know, I get to look over at the hardwoods and watch the fireworks, and you get to see everybody in your front yard. I don't.
and I did have, one other person, I talked to them last night, and they do things with, St. Vincent Paul, and they're, back to work now, so they defined it. Coming, I told Kathleen that we had the meeting today, started at 10 o'clock, and she come in as a spectator and watch the comedy that goes on here.
It's a spectator sport.
And then from here, she can make up her mind if she wants to be on the board or not. Because I've called a couple times trying to get more information about what the election is going to be and how we're going to do it and that. And I haven't never got any response from anybody. So as far as I'm concerned, if Kathleen doesn't want to be on the board, then that's it for me for doing any more looking, because last year I tried my best to get someone, and a couple of people already had them. So my job wasn't any good. I made out flyers to put in business places and that, and they never got there because a couple other people already had 2 or 3 people that wanted to be on the board.
Is our deadline like September 30th?
I have no idea.
It would be in your bylaws. You guys would have to review
I
that.
believe it's the end of September.
I think it is too. And there is a form that you put your name on, and
And then we would have to do a background check on you, just let you know, because we.
As a federal employee for 37
Well,
years.
yeah.
I worked at the Fed, I guess.
Might work, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, now I have a question on that. Since Bevis is the only person they had, and there's nobody else except for Kathleen, say, do we have to have a vote, or as far as the kind of people go, or just the board?
I believe it's the same process that we did for Stephanie. Mike, are you there? He's there. I don't know if
I
he's
think the
busy.
Stephanie, we
No, I'm here. I'm here.
just the board voted.
Yeah, the
Right.
board just voted too.
That's what
I
I'm
couldn't
asking.
find my unmute button.
Mike?
Yes.
He's sleeping.
Yeah. He's multitasking over there. He's thinking I'm still talking. So he's like, oh, Lenny's talking. He'll be there forever. I do believe that it is a board
I'm
vote.
unmuted.
However, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't get a vote. So you have enough to make a motion and a vote because you have a quorum to do a vote. And that would be and then we need to also get with Pam and Stephanie, see about their continuation of the board. If the 3 missing of a meeting
right.
triggers you out or not. So I guess, to believe it or not, I don't know if we have to have, because I'm trying to remember how we did it for Stephanie, or how you guys did it for Stephanie.
I think we did it right at our meeting.
And I think we had to do it like a closed ballot. It wasn't like a raise hand, so you can do that. So we'd have to get ballot sheets. It's literally a production. So I can rip you off a piece of paper and you guys can vote yes or no, and then she would be appointed. I'm just.
And
We
then-
should probably
and then-
ask her if she's interested first.
That's what I was gonna say, after seeing what meeting there was in our new, director, or-
Now, if you want, you can take time to think about this, or we can have a special convenience of the board, we can do it virtually and over the phone, you know, so you don't have to make a decision today, you know.
Or we could do it at our next meeting.
But that would be after the deadline of the fiscal, right? If there is a deadline. I don't even know if there's a deadline.
There is.
There is September 31st.
Okay.
No, 30.
15.
It'd be-
Yeah.
It was the 15th.
Yes, and the
Well, 31st
imaginary
doesn't
September
work.
31st.
30, it's only 30 days.
Yeah, 30 half.
Would you like
I thought it
to
was the
take a few
15th.
days to think about it and then let Roland know, or would you?
Oh, he called me a couple weeks ago.
Oh, so you've had some time
And
to
trying to
think.
think about it.
Okay.
And he called me back to remind me. I guess the only thing is, he mentioned that there were some changes, so I'm assuming it's in your bylaws that there were changes.
Changes, how so?
Well, just how the board operates, because I know when I was on it before, that there was a set of bylaws. But Roland, you said there were some changes.
I don't know, I don't know if the bylaws is, changed or not, because I don't have any.
The changes possibly would be that we have the new director and a lot of new staff, and a lot more staff.
And the background check, because that is new, I believe.
Yeah, we have to, I don't think we can take a vote until we run her background check. So I
Well,
think,
can you vote contingent on her passing it?
I don't know their
Yeah,
bylaws.
we robbed the
They
bank
need-
or
No.
anybody up, but
No, remember Al's a part-time deputy sheriff, so.
If she was interested, I've got the paperwork on the rules, regulation for hiring, for being on staff.
There you go.
There you go. Bev came prepared to walk away.
Wow, I guess so.
The reason why I did that is because when I started 3 years ago, I had to beg for this stuff to get it.
Oh,
Was Stephanie background check when you voted her on? They'd already run that before they
I
voted.
believe so. Because I think we just needed her date of birth and we just ran it on iCheck while we were waiting in the board meeting. Because she
I think
came,
they voted her in on board meeting.
she came to the first meeting to establish. And then by the second meeting, we had ran all of her check and board stuff.
Yeah.
And then we let her in.
Yeah.
So can we make a motion for Kathleen to be on the board pending background check?
I'm pulling up the board.
Works for me.
We can do
Yes.
that.
Whatever she said.
Dolores, can you hear me?
I think this made it.
Oh,
She just made it. I'll
Okay.
second it.
okay. All in favor? Is that what I have
I
to say?
think we'll have to have
Probably
a
do a
vote.
roll
We'll have to
call.
wait for the following month to vote her in.
Oh, okay,
This is just so she can have the background check and everything else.
okay.
Next month, we can vote her in if clean.
We'll have to make
If
sure
she's
it's on-
clean.
If she's clean.
Okay, I will pull up a copy of the bylaws, Roland, if you want a copy of it. This is what I have. It says,
Oh, okay.
does yours say bylaws 1999 or was yours say bylaws 2018?
Anything I've gotten recently, it's all in there.
Can you open that up and let me see what you have?
And I give it grass.
well, I believe you should probably have a meeting in the future and review the bylaws to see if there's any updates, because you should really look at them once a year.
Open meeting handbook. You wanna know all about Lenny?
Wow.
Trying to get their attention to say I'm leaving. But
That's been moved by-
they don't pay any attention.
Oh, this is all the vehicles. I'm sorry, what am I supposed to be looking for?
Bylaws.
Bylaws.
I don't think you got it.
He hasn't cracked open the big one yet.
Oh, yeah.
Well, just go ahead and leave it unlocked.
She got everything but. got everything, but
I think I have a copy, and here's what I would like, you know, is emails, so I can email you, a copy of everything. Hold on, something's coming up here. No, we cannot see or hear you. We can see you. You gotta unmute yourself if you're talking.
I am unmuted.
Mike, are you, yeah, it should show you that you're unmuted.
It looks like it's never been adopted. It's still red and green.
No, that's an old one.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that's the only one I got too, is the red and green
Mike,
one.
Mike, are you there?
And when you do the bylaws, you should put the date that they were adopted on the last page.
That, the new ones that they have that on there. That's what they have.
I'll have to look tonight. I don't think I've got anything but the red and green one.
Okay.
I'll go through it tonight and see.
So remember. You sure you don't want to keep that for posterity? No?
I'm cleaning house. I'm getting rid of a lot of junk.
I've been doing that too. It's amazing how much paperwork it's like.
Yes.
This would make you a copy of that.
Actually read my text messages and walk away.
Let me do it.
Oh,
And I might be on that stuff too. Yeah, I'll have to look tonight. I can't find it.
Okay. I will find the newest copy of your bylaws and make sure it was sent to you all. Because what I have here shows, I mean, it shows the date, but I know there's a 2018 version of the bylaws. Mike, I can see you, but I can't hear you. Can you hear us? Yes, no? Yep, he can hear us, but we can't hear him.
He's got a thumbs up, so.
yeah, because I can remember Gene was working on it
Yeah.
way back when, several years
Says
ago.
unmute now.
Yeah, but you really should look at it every single year.
Can you hear me now?
Mike says he has to go. All right.
Can anyone hear me?
Okay, so he's saying he had to go. Okay, I believe if there's no other matters, you guys can adjourn if you want. But I'll make sure all the bylaws get sent to you guys out. We'll look for that as soon as we break here, and we'll send that out.
I'm sorry, wasn't there a motion on the table or?
Yes.
What was it? It was a motion to.
Bevan
Bevan
and
made it,
Roger.
Roger seconded it.
Yeah, Roger made it to start the vetting process for her, to get her. to let me-
Subject to the,
Put her on the board.
Mhm.
Now I do all in favor?
Well, Roger's short now, or do you still have a quorum?
You have to wait till Roger comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to have at least 5. We don't have a quorum.
Or we'll wait a few minutes for Roger to come back. Can we do something else while Roger's gone for a minute?
I don't have anything.
Do you have any old business or new business?
Well, I have a question on our phone system.
Mhm.
I heard that we're going to get somebody to answer the phone when you call and then direct your call to that person or to you or to there.
Amen.
Mhm.
I mean, the way it is now is really bad.
Yeah, you're listening for about 20, 30 seconds, just,
Oh.
Listen, people,
Call
I have done the best that I could with that auto attendant. Yeah, we're hiring a front desk person.
And she will,
She'll start next week
she'll answer the phone
and then
and say,
transfer to this.
that should really help. And that will help if you want to call in to say, I want to come and eat tonight. What's going to be the deadline on that, like 10 o'clock or noon or
We do about noon, but,
about noon?
but they
Okay.
have a number for that. Everybody has what's called a direct dialing number. So that direct dialing number for that goes to Julie's phone directly, and then they just make the reservation there. Just like if you want to change meals, like cancel your meals for the day, you call that meal line, that changes, that goes right there.
Is there any possibility of getting,
Roger's back.
where, like I call in,
Mhm.
It left,
You were short
Uh,
of form to vote.
part says, if you want this person,
Kathleen.
press
get her in.
3, if you want
Yeah.
this person, press
Yes.
4. And then you press those numbers, and then it goes to another set of numbers that you press, and then making sure the time you don't get anybody.
Right. Nobody
Yeah,
answers
that-
anyway. But this should eliminate that though, right?
We're
Having
having,
somebody at the front desk
Yeah.
call,
at
say,
current, when we took over, we had 4 of us, myself and 3 staff. Now there's 23 or 4 of us now, okay? So we're growing, and the departments are gonna be here. You know, right now, people are just calling, pressing extensions, because they don't wanna listen. The auto attendant basically has my beautiful voice, I'm kidding, has my voice, and it says, hey, this is where you need to go. Most times, if you already know your extension, you just hit it. You don't even have to wait for me to talk. You just boop, boop, and goes right there to it. We're trying to make sure that there's somebody there at every. But people are leaving voicemails on stations that are not manned,
I know.
and then they're
but-
getting upset. But it tells you this is for day center. If you don't have a day center question, why are you complaining about in-home services on the day center line? That's them. You know.
Well,
you
it's
know-
confusing. The phone system is very confusing. And I've heard
And
that
then
a lot of
if you
people.
leave a message, you don't get called back anyway.
So hopefully this person answering the phone, it will eliminate a lot
I
of the
will tell you
problems.
this, I will tell you this, the 3 people that complain are not anywhere close to the 97 people that we help daily with phone calls that are answered. We have a couple of people, like Rollin, I know you called me a couple times, you missed me, but between audits and everything, I'm hardly at my desk. I am putting out fires all over the place, and, you know, I try to get with you. You're never, everybody's believes that their issue is the most important issue on the planet. It is not. There's 100 other people that have the exact same view that their issue is the most important issue on the planet. You're not always going to get somebody, but when we do, we try to help. Our staff have had very nasty people the last couple of weeks that have chewed my staff out, cussed them out, and we've had to cut services to certain people because of the way they treat our staff, and we're like, not going to happen. So, and everybody signs an agreement that says that you want to treat our staff with dignity and respect, and you have a code of ethics of how you're going to treat people. You know, they're not your slave. They're not here to, you know, to do the things that, because you just don't like them doing, and you have problems with their lifestyle. So we're going to work on that. I hear you on the phones, you know, we're getting better. But yes, we're going to have a front desk person. I'm going to drop 2 of the auto attendants off, which means you don't go from our main switchboard from us to this person to this switchboard. You're just now going to go to 1 person, and then you can just hit 0 for the operator and then go from it.
And then she'll put you through to
Whoever.
that one or that.
Mhm. And then she'll be,
Hopefully that should correct a lot of the
okay, so,
Well, the
problems.
iron's hot and you got everybody.
all right.
Finish
So-
the job.
A
Yeah,
quick roll call vote. Bev,
Yes.
yes. Stan?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Rollin?
Yes.
Dolores?
yes.
What we
Okay.
voting on?
We vote- Oh,
I was in the bathroom, I'm sorry.
Giving Lenny a raise.
yeah.
Oh, geez.
Oh, that's coming.
Hey, that's nice. Well, you got a raise. Boy, that was quick.
No, that's coming. That's
That was
coming.
Kathleen.
I'm gonna be like,
Hey,
hey,
get
you
me in
fixed
and
my
I
Right.
kind of
Right.
figured
Damn,
that.
damn, Mike.
But I had to say something.
But when you left,
So-
they couldn't vote.
Yeah, I know.
We just need we'll get you to fill out an application, and we need your date of birth to run you through iChat. I'm sure it's gonna come back stellar, and then we'll get you going through there. That is not just our policy, that's NIMSCA and all, any grant people that we
I
get.
was on the board
Yeah,
of the commissioner when that went into effect.
Gotcha.
I'd like to make a motion that we close.
Well, we have to go into closed session for a couple of minutes.
So why?
For what?
That thing that you showed me before the meeting.
We don't need to. I just told it. I told everybody, they get a copy of it.
You got a copy.
It's there. I told everybody.
all
about it.
done.
Oh, okay.
Where were you at this meeting? I said, hey, this was a thing
Yeah,
from our
you
insurance
showed us
company.
that to
I
us.
thought you were talking about the lawsuit girl.
That is this.
That's it.
Well, what about the other
You,
one?
you
They
were,
just quit.
this is recorded. The other one is not a big thing. That's just unemployment claims. I'm dealing with that right now. I'm sending that. So as soon as I leave here, I send that to him and he's gonna.
I make a motion and we close.
I second it.
All right, motion
All
in
in
favor.
I
All right. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Next month.
It was nice. You're doing a fantastic job, Lemon. Keep it up.
No,
Now you say that after I turn the